be better at our spending and budgeting. So good morning, David. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday. So as we look ahead to, maybe people have already started buying gifts for the holidays, but if you haven't already started, how can you budget for those gifts? Make lists or spreadsheets? What are some of your best strategies?
You know, we've talked about this topic many times because what happens is people do really well all year long. And I see my clients, they've done well, no credit card debt. Come January, they go, yeah, I got a little wild during Christmas, and now how do I get out of this credit card debt? So your planning should start, if you haven't started yet, should start today, and have a list of who you're going to buy for and the dollar amount. Make sure you stick in that dollar amount that's within your budget. You should have really been planning for this starting at the beginning of the year when you do your annual budgeting, just to make sure that you're saving throughout the year so that it doesn't go on that credit card.
Because this is the time of year when people spend the most money on average?
This is the time of year where people spend the most money and do the most impulse buying because they get behind. They haven't planned it out. They get behind. They get nervous that they haven't bought this, this, or this, and they go out and instead of shopping, they just buy. There's a difference between shopping and buying. Shopping, you're being thoughtful, you're being intentional about it. Buying, you just want to get it done.
So how does writing stuff down or planning it out help us to stay disciplined so that we don't say, oh, well, it's just a little bit out of my budget, I can stretch it here?
It makes us intentional about what we're going to buy and who we're going to buy for. So if you have that list and have a dollar amount, it doesn't mean you have to spend that dollar amount, but just make sure you don't spend over that dollar amount so that when you go to the mall or go do your shopping, you're intentional about what you're going to buy and you've thought it through versus, again, doing that impulse buying. It's kind of like grocery shopping when you're hungry. They say you're never supposed to do that because you buy so much more. It's the same way with Christmas shopping.
So when we're trying to prioritize who we want to spend the most money on, or if we have experiences for ourselves that we want to do around this time of year, how do we prioritize that so that people still get thoughtful gifts or we can still have fun?
Well, I think what you need to do is make sure that, okay, start with your family. Usually we start with our immediate family, and then pretty soon the Christmas music's playing and everybody's kind of excited and it's a good time of year. And then you start expanding that list without even knowing it. So it's not who you want to spend the most money on, but it's maybe not even money. Maybe it's something that you're going to do for them. Maybe it's a trip. But make sure that you start with the top 10 people, if you're going to buy for 10 people, that are most important to you during Christmas season. And then if you have money left over, you can expand that list. A lot of times I'll hear families go, well, we decided to take everybody to Disney World. I've had that happen. I had a client say, we had decided to take everybody to Disney World. They told everybody they were going to take everybody to Disney World. They never really checked the prices. They were sticker shocked when they started checking this. Now, they've already promised it. They were sticker shocked when they started checking into how much it really costs and all the ancillary things. It's not just flying to Disney World, but it's the food, it's the lodging, it's the extracurriculars that you can do down there. So if you're intentional about it and plan it out, you don't end up in trouble.
And then if there are big things that we want to buy, do you recommend doing some of those programs that allow you to pay later after the fact, and that accumulates some interest, of course, though?
Yeah, I think some places have 0% interest as long as you pay within a year. I think that's fine if you are disciplined. If you are disciplined, you can do that. But if you go one day over that, when that year ends, you get added in all the interest into it. Better than that would be start saving in January. Have a budget for Christmas, or have a budget for birthdays, or have a budget for the holidays. Start saving in January and say, okay, I'm going to spend $1,000 or I'm going to spend $1,200. If I spend $1,200, I know I have to save $100 a month. And if you're behind and at the end of the year you've only saved $900, you're going to have to make it work with $900 because going to those credit cards will absolutely derail you for the next year.
Because sometimes we have to accumulate that budget over time or have that savings built up throughout the year. So looking ahead to the new year, if we're saying maybe this year I don't have enough to do some of those bigger things or buy those bigger things that I wanted to, looking into 2026, what are some strategies we can use?
I think if you don't have the money saved up, then you've got to look for experiences. And what I mean by experiences is not just, here I'm going to give you a gift or of something tangible. Maybe it's something where you're mowing somebody's lawn or shoveling their driveway, especially younger families that are just starting out. Maybe it's you do something like that or some different experience that's meaningful to them. Clean the house or whatever it is. It doesn't always have to be monetary, but we've gotten so materialistic and everything's got to have a big, shiny, and value. You don't always have to do that. Some of the best gifts and cards that I've received have been homemade.
Definitely, I agree 100%.
So it's one of those things where if you don't have it, maybe you bake some goodies for somebody or something like that, but it doesn't always have to be shiny.
Get creative, and I'm sure that's what you do with some of your clients at Lux Wealth Advisors.
Absolutely.
So we got some information on the screen there. Thank you again for joining me this morning, David. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.